Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Living Arts. I'm your host, Jackie Suarez. Thank you for tuning in. Hope everyone's enjoying their summer. We have a really special show for you this evening. I had the pleasure of meeting Michael Boriskin. He's the artistic and executive director of Copland House in Cortlandt Manor. And I'm sorry to say that at the time, I actually didn't know that much about it. And I want to share this with you. It's really exciting, and it's a beautiful place. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jackie. Good to be here.
No, I'm great. I'm so glad to have you here. I'll just give you a quick synopsis of how I got to, get your name. Mary Crescenzo from the Peekskill Playhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I met her, and she said that how wonderful you were and how what great work you were doing at the Copland House, and strongly recommended that we get together. And I'm so glad that she did.
I am too. She's a wonderfully gifted artist. And she is married to one of the great teachers in Westchester, Paul Meshes,
Right.
who was the band director at Lakeland High School, where our teaching artists and performers from Copland House have worked with the kids there. Paul has done a wonderful job bringing music to Lakeland and keeping it alive and vibrant. We need more people like both of them.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So I'd like you to give our audience just tell them, what Copland House is about. A little bit about Aaron Copland, his mission. We touched on it briefly on Friday, and the whole story of how they came to save his home was very interesting. So please tell our audience about it.
Well, thank you. Aaron Copland was one of the most beloved and profoundly influential musical figures in American history. He was an extraordinary composer who really helped to define the sense and the sound of what we think of when we think of American music in the concert hall, on the ballet stage, even in film and in the theater. Copland was a longtime Westchester resident. He lived the last 30 years of his life in a wonderfully comfortable yet modest hilltop home about 2 miles east of the Hudson River in Cortlandt Manor. And the house is now, we're happy to say, an award-winning creative center for American music that is at Copland's home, which is a National Historic Landmark. Copland House is really the only composer's home in the United States that is devoted to nurturing and renewing America's extraordinarily rich musical heritage through a broad range of activities, musical programs, educational activities, public performances, electronic media projects, recordings, broadcasts, and so forth. And the fact that the house exists in its present form as this wonderfully vibrant creative center is really due to a genuine grassroots coalition of local citizens from the Peekskill Cortland area who preserved the house from being sold. The house was going to be sold after Copland died in 1990. He had made provision in his will for the creation of a grant-making trust. This is the way he lived his life. Copland himself, as an individual, was one of the great mentors on the American musical scene. And from the time he himself was in his 20s, always looked to help his fellow composers. There was no such thing to Copland as a rival or competitor. They were all colleagues. Right. And he was exceptionally generous. When he died, he created a grant-making trust to support American music projects, recordings, performances, and so forth. And the house was going to be sold, and the proceeds were going to be used to underwrite a few more grants every year. That's a perfectly defensible action to have taken, exactly. But what the Copland estate didn't count on was some highly motivated Cortland and Peekskill residents seeing the for sale sign and saying essentially, stop. You can't sell Aaron Copland's home.
Right.
And they banded together. They went to the town of Cortland, which then, as now, was run by Linda Puglisi as supervisor. And the town and this group of citizens went to the estate and gave them this sort of really bare bones plan as to saving the house. These folks didn't quite know exactly what should happen and where the money should come from and what they might do, but they had what those of us who came after really regard as a kind of pure and noble idea to save Aaron Copland's home and to put it towards the service of American music. It was never intended as a shrine to Aaron Copland, but really as a living tribute to the way he spent his life and to his historic role on the American music scene.
That's pretty extraordinary for just, his neighbors to say, hey, wait a minute, we want to hold on to this and not really know, it's evolved into something much more.
Yeah.
But just not even have it as, let's say, a Van Cortlandt estate or something like that. But it has turned into much more, and you have a very coveted residency that happens at the house. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and your latest guest?
Well, thank you. The program areas of Copland House, really from the beginning, were resting on three pillars, if you will. One was, as you said, a program, a multifaceted program to support composers, and the flagship of those activities is a coveted residency program. It's a highly competitive program where we offer 7 or 8 all expenses paid residencies for gifted, emerging, and mid-career American composers. It really is a retreat for them to get away from daily obligations, professional responsibilities for anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks. They come to Cortland Manor, to Aaron Copland's home, where they can work uninterruptedly in the same environment that he himself enjoyed for the last 30 years of his life. We do a lot of other things to help advance the careers of these composers after they leave, after their residencies are over. That's one pillar of our activities. We have a widely acclaimed touring resident chamber music ensemble, which is called Music from Copland House. It gives concerts all over the country. It makes recordings, does broadcasts. I'm sorry we don't have a piano here, because we would give you a little performance of the Music from Copland House ensemble.
For which you are the pianist for that.
For which I am the pianist. Great pleasure for me to work with some of the most gifted performers in America. We're very fortunate that so many wonderful people have worked with us over the years.
So are they? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the ensemble is put together by people that were actually doing the residency, or?
No, those are two separate areas. Some composers are performers, some performers are composers, but they are really two different skill sets, and it really is exceptional to find a person who is equally gifted, let's say, both as a creator, as a composer, and as a recreator, a performer. Actually, our founding clarinetist is such a person. Derek Bermel is a widely admired and highly accomplished composer who has been a resident at Copland House as well. And Derek is actually spearheading a new program, which I hope we'll get to talk about in a little while, a program that we're just starting for younger composers. The ensemble is the traveling ambassador for the house. We can't pick up the house and take it to Houston or Los Angeles or Chicago, but the ensemble can travel and give concerts on tour, which it certainly does. It also is the featured ensemble in a concert series of our own that takes place at the Meerstead Estate in Mount Kisco, and I'm sure we'll come back to that later as well.
We'll let the audience know also that, you know, the Meerstead Estate is, you'll be taking over that as well, right? And making that kind of another branch of the Copland House.
Well, that's it. We have been working with Westchester County, which owns Meerstead, and we have been developing a growing public-private partnership for this vast estate, which is just outside of the center of Mount Kisco. It's an extraordinary property, and our first stage programs there, we're just about to begin our 4th season there. Our first stage programs are these concerts that we've put on, which are a real showcase for past and present American music of all kinds. I mean, we've done concert music and vocal music, opera, adaptations of opera, cabaret, and so forth. And that's been a really important vehicle for us as a public platform that enables us to really present our programs. We've been able to reach out to a wider public, not only in Westchester, but in throughout the Metro New York area. We encourage people to come and hear what we are doing at Copland House on the stage at Meerstead. These are concerts that take place throughout the season. Our opening concert for our 4th season, it will be on September 8th at Meerstead with a program celebrating music by the great Leonard Bernstein, longtime colleague of Aaron Copland. And the season starts in September and runs with a short hiatus in the winter through June.
That's awesome. So, you know, definitely people can find out about that by going to the website for the Copland House.
Absolutely.
Now, is that the same for the events that are happening at Meerstead?
Yes, coplandhouse.org, and there is no E in Copland. You would think there's an E, but there is no E in Copland.
Right.
COPLAND. HOUSE.
Your lovely host made that mistake. But
coplandhouse.org has information about all of our events under one internet roof. You can buy tickets, you can buy some of our recordings there, books about Copland. You can find out what's happening at Copland House. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to know about what we're doing at Copland House, which also includes our 3rd program area, which is really, really important, not only to us, certainly, in terms of our mission, but to the community at large, which is our educational activities, both in schools, as I said before, in terms of working with somebody like Paul Meshes at Lakeland High School, in schools, but also on site at Copland House. We are the destination for field trips by school groups, by other community groups and senior groups. We know that education doesn't stop when you get out of school, and we really try as much as possible to make Copland's home a resource for the community.
No, I mean, I find it just fascinating, having gone to the house, and 2 words, come to mind: just serene and inspiring. And it's just awesome that you guys give these composers an opportunity to spend the time there. And also you have this outreach program where you're going, I guess, do you ever go you go out to the high schools and the various places, and they come and visit the house as well when there's not someone there?
That's exactly right. We do a lot of work in the schools, actually a growing growing amount of activities and programs in the schools. We just feel that that is, as I said before, an enormously important part of our mission, and we look at it also as really an investment in the community and an investment in our common future. What we are there for is not simply to be, teaching Tommy how to play the clarinet or helping Sally to sing better. Those are a couple of the things that we've been doing there, but we've certainly worked in groups, and our notion is much more about creativity in the broadest sense, because look, we all know this, that we're in a high-tech, very demanding world in the early 21st century, where the greatest successes that we will have individually and as a community and as a nation will involve seeing things differently, putting things together in ways that haven't been put together before. It's easy to forget that some young person was sitting at one point at his computer terminal talking to his pal on the phone, wondering why you couldn't put a phone together with a computer. And of course, a notion like that has revolutionized our world.
Right.
And underlying all of that is creative thinking and being receptive to all kinds of outside influences and stimulus, thinking critically, thinking imaginatively, and consider, when you hear music, when you look at a painting and you're asked to speak about it, this encourages you to be thinking actively and imaginatively. What are you hearing here? What are you seeing here? Oh, I don't see it that way. It fosters all kinds of really acute observation and pretty vigorous thinking on kids' parts,
Which
and
is absolutely necessary.
It's absolutely necessary. You can't start that early enough when
Right.
kids, in a way, are at their most imaginative.
That's true.
And so we try to encourage that. We've had groups of second graders and third graders at Copland House on up to to high schoolers and even college undergrads. So
Right. Well, it was a nice experience for me, and it was nice to just kind of walk in the steps of Aaron Copland and kind of get a feel of what he experienced when he lived there. And what would you say to someone? What in your opinion is the most important part of the Copland House?
Wow, that's
What does it mean? What does it mean for you?
Well, it's a really good question
you.
because it means a number of things on a number of different levels. It certainly is that living tribute that I talked about to an extraordinary artist, but also an exceptionally generous and benevolent individual. He was a really remarkable role model for what it meant to be a member of a community, a generous member of a community who was always thinking about helping others. And in a certain sense, the fact that Copland House exists as a nonprofit creative center dedicated to helping the music world and the community at large is really a testament to that kind of selflessness, that kind of advocacy for creative involvement and community involvement. That is the thing that is inspiring, to use your word, in the larger sense. Yeah, if you go up the long winding driveway up to the top of the hill, you're surrounded by a few acres of woods, and it is literally a serene, inspiring place to be. That's one of the reasons why composers love being there and going into retreat at Copland's home, because from a literal point of view, it is congenial and inspiring and bucolic and everything else that makes us love being in northern Westchester. But just from the larger sense of it being an inspiring story about the founders and about what this organization means in terms of trying to share with the community, share a still underexplored American musical heritage. It's kind of what the organization is all about.
No, it's again, inspiring comes to mind, and you definitely. I'll be looking at the events that you hold at Mearstead, and definitely try to get back over there. Tell us about the event that's happening on August 5th.
Well, that was part of. It's the culmination, actually, of a brand new program, which we are on the cusp of launching. We've been thinking about it for a couple of years. All of these programs involve, considerable investment of brain power and hard work in bringing something to fruition. And we're really excited about it. As I say, we're on the cusp of it. As we're sitting here, we're finishing up the planning for it. And as our viewers are watching this, the program will have been launched. So it's an exciting program for gifted young composers who are just at the earliest stages of beginning their professional careers.
Okay.
These were handpicked young composers from all over the country, and we are bringing them to Westchester. They will be here for an intensive creative workshop and mentoring program for the entire week. They will be working very closely with Derek Bermel, our founding clarinetist and composer, who is serving as our master artist, if you will. And
are they living at Mearstead?
They will be, actually they're being housed in private homes in kind Westchester.
Like, okay.
But all of the sessions will be taking place at Mearstead. They'll literally be working there almost from morning till night in a real intensive focus on new works, brand new works that each of them have composed for this program. And the concert that you alluded to is happening on August 5th, Sunday afternoon, August 5th, where we will be premiering all 5 of those works that we all will have been working on all week. The first performances of all 5 of these works, together with 2 other works by Copland when he was in his early 20s, like the participants, and a work by Derek Bermels when he was in his 20s. So this is all a program of young people's music, but young professionals' music.
Right.
And the program is called Cultivate. And it is really all about creating a bridge for these composers leaving academia, leaving the conservatories, and starting to make their way out into the professional world.
And they would get into this program the same way someone would apply to be for the residency at the Copland House in Cortland.
That's exactly
okay, so
right.
Right, but they were chosen by the board.
Well, no, not by the board. We to be chosen for the residency, we have an outside panel, a professional, what's called a peer review panel of distinguished composers and instrumentalists. They sit on a rotating jury for us every year. We get generally around 100 applications from all over the country for literally 7 or 8 residency slots. So you can do the math. It is a quite competitive program, but the submissions are judged by their fellow composers and instrumentalists. We really prefer it that way, that there is some distance and some independence. That's a very important factor for us in these kinds of programs. So, there's it eliminates the tendency of any kind of friendships or other
Nepotism.
relationships, nepotism sort of playing a role. It's a straight,
Straightforward.
open process, and moving forward, certainly with the Cultivate program, it will be the same way, obviously.
So, Michael, we're going to have you back because we've run out of time. What we're going to do is have a clip of the Copland House, music from the Copland House Ensemble.
That's exactly right.
We're going to show you that. We would love to have you back. Want to thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm delighted just to know more about the Copland House. I'm glad to share this with the audience and have this opportunity. So I want everyone to tune in to our website. It's www.livingartsinwestchester.com. We are also on Facebook, so like us. We have a YouTube channel, Living Arts in Westchester. And Michael, how can people find out more information about the Copland House?
Two ways. As we said before, on our website, which is www.coplandhouse.org. And, yes, by phone as well, excuse me, 914-788-4659. We do love to hear from people by telephone. And if you want to drop us a line, we are at Box 2177, Peekskill, New York, 10566.
Awesome. So, I just really quickly, how do you also are a professional musician. I mean, you go and you have several recordings and you have many, many things that you've done in your own career. Is there some way that people can contact you regarding your career separate from the Copland House or some event that's happening that they should know about?
I have a Facebook page as well.
Okay.
And a number of my own activities are on the Copland House page as well. And you can go to YouTube and you can Google me and you can find out, I think, more than you ever wanted to know about me.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I suspect.
Because I'm going to look.
Okay, there's no secrets anymore, we know that.
So it'll be Michael Boriskin.
That's exactly
right.
right.
That's the Facebook page?
Yeah.
I want to thank you again. Thank you so much for coming to Living Arts.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jackie.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you again next week. Peace. Have a great summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.